This is a chart comparing Bursa Malaysia Plantation Index with the KLCI for the past 5 years. As you can see, plantation stocks have been underperforming the index for a very long time until 2022. What happened? Hi, I'm Frankie. Welcome back to my fuck show. Malaysia is the world's second largest palm oil producing country in the world. Over the years, even when the sector provided good dividend yield and capital growth for investors, it has not garnered the love that it deserved, which resulted in the underperformance compared with the benchmark KLCI index. Today, let's address that issue and also explore what is contributing to the hyped up interest in the plantation sector in 2022.
This 1st of July, we'll be holding a workshop on dividend investing.
In this 3-hour workshop, you will learn 4 things.
How dividend works to your advantage,
How to identify a good dividend stock using the logic investing framework,
how to build an investment portfolio that generates passive income for you,
and finally, how to confidently execute your investment strategy with a strong foundation.
Joining this workshop, you're guaranteed to have the confidence and knowledge of picking a good dividend stock to invest in by the end of it. Seats are limited.
So register now with this link or by scanning the QR code shown on the screen. But before we go into that, we need to dive right down to the core of the problem, which is the tree itself. One tree isn't gonna feed the world. So to become the world's second largest oil palm producing country in the world, we need millions of palm oil trees to do the job. And that means we need to clear a lot of land to make way for palm tree plantation. That's why when you look out of the window when you are flying, you see an ocean of palm oil estates, and that's when you know you are landing in the right country. Here comes the problem. As a tropical country, Malaysia was covered with rainforests. They were rich in wildlife species of flora and fauna. Fun fact, do you know that Taman Negara is one of the oldest rainforests in the world that has been around for 130 million years? With industrialization and globalization, coupled with the Malaysian climate that is perfect to grow palm trees, we have grown to use roughly 13% or 4.2 million hectares of our land to plant palm oil trees. Today, almost everything we consume consists of palm oil due to its highly versatile characteristics compared to other oils known in the market. In the early development of the industry, there's no doubt about deforestation to make way for palm oil plantation. If not, how did we get to 4.2 million hectares of estates today? Because of that, it caught the attention of many NGOs to criticize the expansion of planted areas in the country. In December 2018, the EU banned the use of palm oil for the exact reason. To give you some context, according to the Indonesian Palm Oil Association, CPO provides a very high contribution to the EU's vegetable oil consumption, accounting for 80% of total imports of other veg oils. Some people argue that this is essentially a trade war because palm oil can be cheaper than EU's domestic veg oil production, such as rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, and soybean oil. One of the reasons palm oil can be cheaper is because palm oil tree can produce more oil compared to its alternative. Technically speaking, they should use more palm oil instead of anything else, right?
I guess.
Anyways, politics aside, the banning of palm oil use in the EU has affected the performance of plantation stocks over the years and indirectly ruined the livelihood of smaller farmers in Malaysia as they make up the biggest number of exporters to the European market. Oh, by the way, for you guys who are in the agro-food industry, there's this microcredit scheme I came across under Budget 2022 where the government is financing up to 75,000 ringgit for all types of agro-food industry businesses. The best part is the loan rate is 0% for the first 6 months, and then subsequently it will be just 4%. This is very helpful for those in need. The loan is offered over a tenure of 5 years with a moratorium period of 6 months. Applications and other details will be available soon, so do check that out with your banks to find out more details. The other reason that contributed to the lackluster performance among plantation stocks is that the rather expensive valuation that those stocks are historically trading at. Many of you must be wondering, if historically plantation stocks have been trading at 20 50 over times the earnings in the past. Why hadn't anybody exploited that and sold plantation stocks so that it comes down to a level attractive enough that attracts new wave of buying momentum? This one has very much to do with the financial market in Malaysia itself. As one of the most established Islamic markets in the world, Malaysia has become a birthplace to many Sharia-compliant investment funds. The main feature of this financial instrument is that the money is limited to invest in Sharia-compliant stocks only. That is to say, no banks, no breweries, no gambling stocks, no tobacco trading, no non-halal food manufacturing, so on and so forth. While the intention of Sharia investment is great, it limits the ability to deploy funds in the market as a whole. So as a result of that, Plantation stands out as one of the very few avenues for Sharia funds to go more aggressive, and that push up the valuation of plantation stocks. Thankfully, plantation stocks do provide decent dividends over the years that help to justify the hefty valuation to some extent. Now that you know what happened in the past, what's going on lately that changed the investment landscape for plantation stocks? Remember we discussed earlier that the EU bans the use of palm oil when such an important veg oil source supply is cut. European countries need to find substitutes to make up for the shortfall, and that would be rapeseed oil, sunflower oil and soybean oil. In my last video, we talked about the disruption brought about by the Ukraine war. Just look at the chart. Ukraine is responsible for 42% of the world's sunflower oil supplies. What do you think is going to happen to the demand for palm oil when this much of sunflower oil production is disrupted? In Indonesia, the government had imposed an export ban on palm oil products in the early part of the year in the name of national food security. This is shocking to the world because Indonesia is the world's largest exporter of palm oil products. Since then, CPO prices have really shot up the roof. That's good news for Malaysian planters because the world had no choice but shift their palm oil demand to Malaysia, benefiting all the plantation stocks in the country. To make the CPO supply squeeze worse, during the pandemic, many businesses were halted due to the lockdown, including the plantation sector. Many of these foreign workers took this opportunity to go back to their country of origin since there was not much work for them to earn a living in that period. Little did they know that it was a one-way ticket. In the past 2 years, it has been extremely difficult to return to Malaysia on stricter immigration rules as the effort to curb the spread of the virus. Today, the situation has improved, but it will still take time for businesses to recruit foreign workers again. Nonetheless, the number speaks for itself that production is picking up since March 2022, which leads to the next question. If more workers are gradually returning to work, CPO production should increase as well. Will the incoming supply dampen CPO price and lead to a fall in plantation stocks prices? The short answer is yes. In fact, CPO prices are starting to fall on the expectation that Malaysian production will increase in the next few months ahead. On top of that, with the world battling inflation by increasing interest rates, it is expected that commodity prices will ease going forward. If that's the case, perhaps plantation stocks have already peaked and investors need to be more careful if the strategy was to chase hot commodity prices in the first place. That's all we have for today. #FUCK.